Library's odd day construction advisory committee. We start with the welcome and call to order. Scott sneaking in late.
How's it, the super?
Oh, so I think that's just.
And,
We have no proof of that, but that's true.
and our first item on the agenda is public comment, and not seeing any members of the public here today, I believe we can go through that. Next item is to vote and approve the minutes from November, and hopefully everyone had the chance to review those via email prior to this meeting. We have not been distributing hard copies of that, so if anyone has any comments on the November minutes, now would be the time to bring them up. Not seeing any comments, can I get a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, motion made by Tanya, I'm sorry, Prophet. I was trying to get the last name to our angle. By Ms. Prophet and seconded by Mr. Watkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, how are we doing today? We haven't missed much today. All we have done is
Oh,
essentially.
no, that's okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
please.
I guess you know I'm covering for Melissa.
I do.
Hey, bud.
So, perfect timing, as we just went to approve the November minutes, you are now next on the agenda. You want me to let you step away and kind of push it around a little bit?
I have nothing to say, except hopefully all of you had a happy new year. And we've kind of been off for a while, things shut down for a while, so.
We received late notice on Ms. Giovanelli would not be able to make it. So, and, you know, the topic tonight was especially, part of her request is to address the letter that was distributed at our last meeting regarding New County Middle School MM and the pedestrian bridge or some kind of, even a vehicular bridge connecting Sunrise Boulevard. So that is why we have brought Mr. Giovanelli along and Mr. Rickenbacker. I believe they have some information for us regarding the student population and the validity of the letter. So we'll let them go through their parts and then we can make comments on the idea in general. So Dominic?
Scott, do you have some type of presentation at all, or?
Not for this, I don't build bridges, there's my presentation. However, if the school district should decide to engage with the community in Lee County on doing that overpass, I would say that, let the county build the bridge, and if we have to support financially with them, then similar to how we do the buildings and shelters, and they support us financially, reverse that role, because we do build schools, we're not road and bridge builders.
I am.
There we go.
That perked up my ears when y'all said y'all want to build a bridge. If you want to, I mean, Pat, if you want, I can present to the screen. If you want, I mean, for my.
That'd be great.
I thought that was the
But I
intent,
don't
to get some
have
kind of
flash
feel for the
drive.
population, the
Sure.
land, and where the students are.
Oh, no, okay.
I'm waiting for time.
We're asking why the school district entering this school district doesn't build a bridge.
Is the main purpose of the bridge, so I know it's on is to pull people in from having to drive all the way around with buses and stuff. It's more, we'll be able to get more people walking to school then too.
My understanding, there was a letter that was presented to a board member or two, or to the board as a whole, I'm not sure. A community group in Lee High had been asking for students that would be walkers from that adjacent neighborhood across from the canal, that large collection canal, if there would be a connection for Sunrise Boulevard across. And we don't have a need based on our numbers at this moment in time. The other areas, adjacent properties haven't been fully developed and so forth. So we didn't feel that it should be an expense of the district at this moment in time, but I'm by no means in the decision maker for the board and the superintendent. Again, I would only say that we would prefer to just develop the roadway to our school. And if there's a interlocal agreement and so forth, to go ahead and move forward with a crossover bridge.
Yeah.
Then certainly I think we should be involved.
You're videotaping?
Now, that, okay, how'd they get there? Who took it? Oh,
I mean, there's certainly a benefit when it comes to things like travel time, walking distance.
Did that.
And one of the things they highlighted is the conditions, you know, you build a campus and you build sidewalks, and then they kind of run into nowhere and they have to wander through the neighborhood. So that, you know, it's part of the concerns, and they're valid concerns, but again, it's the school district,
I don't think the bridge is a main concern now.
Hurry, you're right there.
Right
That
now,
doesn't.
the location of the school plus the light, that's the main concern. I'm trying to figure out where would they want us to build a bridge? I mean,
Well, right now, what it is the nearest, first of all, if it's a private road that we're developing, that isn't a county road. So we will be developing the extension from where the asphalt ends, we will be developing that road, continuing it on, we have easements for it, to service and provide access to the school. We are, right now, the traffic impact study is being reviewed by the county, and we're meeting with the county, our civil engineer is. There will probably be a light there at Richmond of some type. The bridge that they're talking about would be, is if you continue past our property heading south, there's a Lambert Canal, which is the water management for Lehigh, a major collection canal that crosses over to another neighborhood on the other side. They wanted to see that continuation of Sunrise all the way through, because they would like to take over that road, the county take over perpetual maintenance, ultimately take over the road itself. So there's a benefit in the long term, and once all those other parcels are developed with the neighborhoods, it would require that connection. But that should be a function of those developers in time when the need is present. Kind of like impact fees, you know, you're gonna develop a property, then you put in the infrastructure and things needed to support that increased development.
So up on the screen is an overview of our property there at Sunrise. The very far lower corner of the orange is where Sunrise connects on the opposite side. And what you see in green here are all the homes that are within the 2-mile walk of the school. So as you can see, obviously, if there was a bridge there, you see the dots on the other side, the increase in the walkability would be looking like that. So you take up all of that shadow, whatever it's called right there, this subdivision right here, which is probably most of the walkers that you're picking up are gonna be coming out of there. So it looks more like that. Other than that, it's pretty well scattered from there over across Bell and whatnot. So there's quite a few students that are obviously living in that one development right there.
So why a whole bridge? Why not just a pedestrian bridge?
Any and none are an option.
No, I'm just asking.
Oh, a pedestrian bridge would work for parents that would allow their students to walk that distance. It would not allow for parents that would want to drive there. They would be driving around regardless.
isn't that considered as county issue, not, school?
A bridge?
Now, yeah.
It would not be our issue unless our development order, we are, instructed from the county saying that our traffic's dirty.
Right, and that hasn't been the case.
That's
Right
not-
now, we meet our traffic impact study by providing that light. We meet all the necessary needs for the loads where we impact on that street. But yes, in the future, you are correct. If the county were to take over that road, they would want that connection so that not everyone was going to Richmond and Homestead, I believe it is, Homestead Road.
Homestead.
Right now, you have to go either Homestead and around Milwaukee to make a big circle. Yeah. So all this area down here is undeveloped residential area that is, owned by a company. At some point, we'll probably have to come in here and develop and probably by the county, actually build that bridge.
So if you're looking at this, I know it's a little confusing. This is the canal that we're speaking about right here. They want the connection to this road here. And if you look at the scattergram, which is dominant, that's your bodies, right?
Yeah, those are students, the dots are students.
That's the amount of students, so the dollars really don't support having a pedestrian bridge for that volume at this time.
At this time.
The students, it actually is relatively representative of the houses. It's spiritually built at this point.
Yeah, if you were to look through there, you'll see that there's a lot of empty lots through there.
Now, when these bigger lots get developed, and I think once the school goes up, I think you're gonna see a movement on that. then of course you're gonna want to have this connection from Homestead and to the other way for that traffic. Otherwise it'll inundate Homestead. But again, that's predicated on the development of these parcels.
Again, that's what it currently looks like for the two.
So I got a question. Alright, so that section that's got, one that has, yeah, right there where that is, so that, go back to your other one. So that section, how is a bridge even getting them? Because there's a canal, they're encompassed inside that canal.
This,
So if you put a bridge there, how are they still walking?
there's
Walking here.
no bridge over here. The bridge would go.
Right, I know that, but there's a canal that goes up, goes to the right, and then goes back.
And that's all Lampset, and there's no guarantee that Lampset would give you those access.
Up in that
for a
northeast
bridge.
corner, they still have to loop around themselves, but
They would have to walk all the way up to the corner of their property and then come.
Then come around.
If it's still inside of 2 miles because they're immediately adjacent, but yeah. it's
The
still-
best thing to
still
do is
long.
just build you a little path right at the corner, or your upper corner of your yellow square, to the corner of where that canal makes a right angle.
That'll get all of those people walking right through there.
Well,
That's the back end of the property.
This
Back
is-
end of that. But yeah, but you don't own that land. That's the
we
thing.
don't own that
Yeah,
land.
you have
But you
kids
know what-
showing up in
but you
someone
know
else's
that-
backyard.
Right, but you know what I'm saying. That's
Right
what-
now,
that-
this-
That eliminates the bridge.
This whole corner up in here is all wetland preserved, so we can't develop anything inside of there. You have this neighborhood in the back, but this is all controlled by Lampset. They prefer not to have any crossings or utilities through their easements simply because they want to maintain these canals.
And the person who sent the letter, what is his,
That's Lehigh Acres,
Yeah.
community, was it Lehigh Acres Community Council?
but I mean, like, why aren't they sending it to?
Oh, yeah, Lehigh Acres Citizens Advisory Committee.
Right,
That's like,
Lehigh Corp, that's a group of.
but like, why aren't they sending it to like DOT or something?
I believe they sent it to
because.
County, they send it
Okay.
probably to.
They sent it to-
Yeah, they sent it to both.
and Lamb said as well.
Yeah, yes, it's for Rick
Yes,
Anthony.
oh, yes, great.
But yeah,
They want us to come?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
It sounds like there's.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is that a navigable waterway subject to Army Corps?
I do not believe so, no. But, and again, I mean, I'm not the decision maker here, but I would just emphasize that I would like the direction, at least in this committee, is we're a school district, we build schools.
Right.
It's not to say we can't partner with other agencies you would collaborate with to fund, but they should be the builders of these roadways and infrastructure.
May I throw my 2 cents in here?
Absolutely.
Yes, we're a school district and we build schools, but the children and their safety is paramount. And because it's paramount to, and especially over the last couple of years when we've had a couple tragedies happen, I think no matter how this turns out, it would be me speaking as myself, not for the whole board. It would behoove us to have a very cooperative, conciliatory attitude toward this. And if in the end, once the school is up, maybe there are more houses out there. I mean, we really don't know at this point. And, frankly, to say we're a school district, we build schools, to me, that sounds very like, well, that's your problem. It's, no, but I'm just, I'm not trying to pick on you, I'm just giving my opinion that when we say something like that, it will tick off some people and make it seem like we don't care about the safety of the kids. And the other thing I'm thinking is, would that entail that subdivision on the other side? Does that entail one whole bus?
Well,
Or would there be a route coming through there most likely?
more than likely, those students will all have a priority to attend this new school because of their proximity.
Right, but I'm saying because of the danger, they would be entitled to a bus to transportation, right?
If the bridge was there, you mean, or if the bridge is
If
not?
the bridge were not there.
Well, right now, they're driving around to it. If that school was there now, they would be
Okay.
driving around.
And so they would be on a bus. So what I would ask is, how much would a bus cost
Well,
versus,
I can tell you, to continue that road and create a box culvert there, you're probably looking between $750,000 and $1 million. And so now you gotta say, based on the scattergram, how much fuel and bus driver time can you buy over the years?
okay,
for
that's
$3
what I'm,
million?
yeah, that's what I'm asking. Does that sound like?
That's an expensive box culvert.
That's really,
Does that
really
sound like
expensive.
But we plan to have a bus
That's,
stop
oh,
there.
I know it's pretty
You're
good.
talking 2
We've
lanes.
got a guy here
Yeah,
that'll
well,
give a
I mean,
discount.
I mean, right.
We built full-size bridges with piling and all for
Oh,
$800,000.
But there's 2 lanes, plus pedestrian walkways.
Right, but- and if this is a box culvert, all you're needing is, that's a quarter of the cost of the bridge. It'll cost more to do the road than to actually build the box culvert. So I would say in the 500.
I don't think it'd be
And
3/4.
that's assuming they'd allow me to use a box culvert in that canal. This is I don't know.
Right, well, in Lehigh, most of that, especially that canal, I do know that canal, they have some weirs on some of those canals, but none of them are navigable. So box culverts are usually, as long as they can meet the capacity.
There's a bridge.
There's many box culverts in Lehigh. They're mostly box culverts around all those roads.
That canal has I think at Grant has a bridge, a piling bridge on the same canal.
Right.
Seems like you got a lot more issues than just the bridge. You've got safety issues going around the neighborhood. There's no connection between the neighborhood and that new bridge. You have to go, you got sidewalk issues, safety issues, so it's
well,
not
at the
just.
end, we have to compromise between the city and us by taking it into ourselves and say, okay, we're gonna build a bridge. We can't do that at school district. I mean, yes, the safety of the kids involved, but we can't just say, okay, well, just because we receive a letter, okay, let's build a bridge. We can't do that. That's not fair to
not their
both
property,
parties.
first
We
of
have
all.
to compromise with the city and the school
Are we
district.
after the safety of the children getting to the school, or we after the comfort of the parents driving to it? I'm kind of confused on that balance.
Well, they can drive to it from anywhere. Right, I mean, without a bridge, obviously they can drive through.
Well, obviously, but I'm just saying, are we after that or the safety of the kids?
I think that the way it's being presented to us from the MPO was that they believe it's more cost-effective for a bridge to be there and to not have to bus our students. I believe that's their stance. I don't think they're really looking at it from the other way. Because if we were to allow these students, all these students, to start to walk, then we have to worry about the lack of sidewalks in this part of the county, which we know they're very lacking. So not only do we have to say, okay, we're not gonna provide you bus transportation, but now we have to figure out how we're gonna get Lee County to continue to focus putting money into sidewalks on that side and to make sure that they have walkways. I know right now there's a walkway down Bell coming out of that large subdivision that will get them there, but I have a feeling that anybody that's on the south side, it probably isn't gonna have a lot of sidewalk.
That is correct. We will provide sidewalks on our side of the developed street. For the undeveloped land across on the road in Sunrise would be by any future developers.
Part of this calculation is that basically the width of that orange plot is district property and will have to be district maintained until that time, as the county takes it over, so.
It's a shared easement for all of the parcel owners.
But as far as maintenance of the road and lighting of the road, that's all on your bill at this point in time.
On our bill to develop and provide a school in time, yes,
Yes.
but there's partners that should be sharing. Unfortunately, the owners of these parcels are outside of the country. So getting the we're moving to do the work, and access to our school. But yes, we will have a portion of maintenance of this road until such a time as the county would take over ownership of it. But they have stated they would not take over ownership of the road for the perpetual maintenance unless there was a connection bridge over to the other street, and then they would entertain it.
So I'm just throwing out that because of, once that is complete and the county takes it over, there is a perpetual cost savings at that point, there's a reduction in
That is
maintenance. So there's a payback period to work into with that.
Correct. And I just want to clarify, Ms. Warren, I'm not against this. The point I was trying to make, and maybe I didn't do it very well, is we would prefer that if the county wants to move forward or the community with a bridge, that maybe we are a participant financially towards that.
Okay.
But since they're the experts in that, let them do that.
Okay, yeah, because the way you said it, it just sounded like, no, that's not our job, but, we have to.
Leave the roads to the.
We have to be sure that we put forward that we're going to be cooperating partners, but we can't take on the full responsibility of it, so I'm just.
It could be fully supportive, but yeah, not responsible.
Yeah, and.
Is there another, I have to ask, when you put that bridge in, say the bridge is installed, wouldn't that turn the school into a racetrack?
Yeah, you have that in front of Island Coast. I was a road builder, because when I developed Island Coast in the city of Cape Coral, they forced me to do the Dino Navarro extension from Del Prado to Island Coast, Gator Circle area. That was a split cost, 50-50. That was part of their development order in order to bring utilities to the school, which by statute, long story, they should have provided it regardless, but in order to get the school built, we had to have that commensurate agreement.
No, I'm saying you're gonna build a bridge to dump traffic into the school.
Correct.
Property.
Right now, I have a dead end, and that, if I was to connect that, I would have a throughway.
It's in front of the school property, it's the public easement, you're connecting the dots in front of it, it's not going into the campus.
Oh, it's not.
No,
Oh, no, it's just in the front. Just, it would be Sunrise continuation.
it's a dedicated roadway easement.
You'll still have a driveway off of that getting into the school.
Yeah, we'll have the full
And
infrastructure.
if the bridge ain't in design now, it wouldn't be done by 2021 anyway.
That's correct.
Now, I think the point I'm trying to ask is, it may be in front of the school, but by opening that access up across that canal, doesn't that give people late for work and stuff another access that's,
Yes, it does.
can I just say bluntly, haul ass back to work?
Yes, it does. Right now, you're on a dead-end street. It doesn't get any safer than
No,
that.
I'm asking.
And no one's coming down that street unless they're going to school at this point.
No, I know what you're saying there.
And your point was if you had even just a walkway bridge, the people on the other side of the canal, it's actually less safe for them to walk to school because they have no sidewalk.
Could be.
Well, I would think if they did a pedestrian bridge, I'm
I'm
doing
not talking
sidewalks.
about the main road, I'm talking about from all them little dots you got over there, they're all in back roads.
Yeah, they may be areas with no sidewalks, that's
And
correct.
they are areas with no
I
sidewalk.
mean, you'd be hard pressed to find areas with sidewalks.
In Lehigh at all, except if
Yeah.
you're on the main
Right. Problem throughout the whole community.
There's
corridor.
right.
County's the same.
Just to give you guys some numbers to represent what those dots look like. So right now, taking a look at current fourth through sixth graders that live in that area, which would be the sixth through eighth graders that would be for August of '21 when the school's scheduled to open. There's 228 students right now that live within 2 miles without the bridge. So if the bridge was there, the number, instead of being 228, would be 394. So it'd be 166 more students that would be walkers to that particular school, if they were to choose that school also. If they would have a preference to choose that school because of their proximity, doesn't mean necessarily that they would choose that school to be the one that they would attend. So there's 166 more students that would not need to be transported. So how that equates to dollars and cents and versus the investment in the bridge is something that we can look at.
How many extra buses is that gonna take for 166 students?
Roger?
Well, they're all not gonna be going. If they go to, the high school kids, it won't matter.
3.25.
There you go, sounds good. But,
I don't know how many fits on a bus, so.
little guys are
166
77.
The 166 would be age appropriate for that school.
Okay, 166, you're looking at 3 buses, reality. And they'll be packed tight.
And then, I mean, thinking that in August of '23, we'll open the elementary school, this is a little bit more tricky because we're projecting out students that are 3 years old right now, and how many are gonna be there. If we were to look at that and look at what we have right now for pre-K through first grade that actually lives in that area, which would be potential 3, 4, and 5th graders for that school at that point. There's 162 of them that are, available to that site now without a bridge. It would be 287 with the bridge, so that's an increase of 125 students. Not counting what we might pick up in pre-K 1 and 2 that I can't really identify because of the school district.
Are we looking at this site as just the middle school site or as a potential middle school and elementary
It will
school
be
site at
both.
once?
It will be both.
It's being designed for both.
Right.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear what you said.
So, August of '21 is the middle school. The site is designed for a middle school and an elementary school, and it'd be about a 2-year difference between the opening of the middle school and the elementary school.
Has anybody configured the rate of growth out there
Oh, yes.
for the next 10 years? Is that what you just mentioned?
We track it up to 10 to 20 years.
Okay.
So our customer is the parent, truly. We were just starting to talk about it. Has anybody brought up a meeting with surveying the parents of that area to get their idea or input. Whether we can do or not is a different story, but just to have some buy-in as to which direction we could.
We did have a community meeting. The civil engineer part of the development order is required by Lee County. We held it, and I don't believe anyone showed. So it was publicly advertised. We held it at Veteran Park.
Yeah, the Veterans Park.
At the elementary, and there wasn't very much participation.
Okay.
Which isn't unusual.
No, I know.
Well, with Lehigh Middle not that far away, and then you have Veterans not that far away, and then you also have Mirror Lakes, obviously not that far away. How do you think you're gonna pull enough students to fill that middle school off the bat? I don't know how
If
crowded.
it was there today and we moved all of our students that were sitting in portables right now, that school would be overfull.
It's a lot.
Everybody does new schools.
Yeah.
Well, that's filling up with everything else filled up.
It's gonna be a major attractor because it's a new school.
Sure.
But if we as a district could say, okay, we're taking our overflow, we're gonna require these students to go to this new school to eliminate our crowding,
Sure.
we would more than fill that school.
Right now,
We were trying to
So
eliminate
you're at max, as soon as that door's open, you're at
Yeah.
max
We're
already.
in catch-up mode. We know for years we haven't built a school, so
We've
we're
already
in
got-
catch-up mode.
all these kids are in portables. So as Dominic just said, if we unloaded the portables, when we open the doors of these schools, there's a good chance the school's at capacity.
Sure.
And part of the other aspect of it is, realistically speaking, how many kids actually walk to school given the opportunity?
And that's
Just because they're in a catchment area, would they actually do it?
Depending on the age of the kid, probably. Depending on the age.
the age, the parent, you know, what they feel is safe
There's a
for their
lot of
student.
different factors going in there.
I see kindergarten kids get off the bus and walk a half a mile by themselves in the afternoon. It's scary. But there's no sidewalks and stuff. What are you gonna do? Both parents working and stuff. I mean, I see it every day, so it's kinda hard to consume, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, they walk that far to go to the bus stop, even people in the day over there would probably end up doing that just to get to a bus.
Is it possible for us to survey our parents that live in this area on this side that would be in that, if there was a bridge situation, would you drive your student to school with the bridge? Would you allow your student to walk to school? Or would you prefer your student to go to bus? I mean, we always have the possibility of doing something like that, just to get an idea
Well, and
of
what is
what
the,
participation is there.
what's the bell schedule gonna be? Cause that depends too on, I mean, if that's an early morning school, are you having your second grader walking to school at 6 o'clock in the morning? You know, I mean, and little legs move slower.
Well, the middle school's first, and right now all
Yeah,
the
I
middle
know,
schools
but
start
that's
later,
nine.
but when we get to the elementary
That's
point,
9.
yes.
9:40, okay.
Well, I mean, most of it, I mean, it's good exercise.
Yeah, and parents are probably already at work by then, you know?
Right, so then it's, I mean, that's why I know like a lot of people will put their kids on a bus because then they know where their kid is.
We have parents that choose schools further away so that they can use a bus
Right.
to get their students to and
Right.
from. It's just the way it is, unfortunately.
But we're moving
But we're moving
away
away
from
from
that.
that.
We're moving away from that, and this would go along with the plan of the proximity schools.
Certainly.
And as Ryan said, or somebody said, brand new school, who said that? Brand new school? Whoever said it. Whoever said that, brand new school, it's gonna be very attractive
Sure.
to the parents.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I mean, so many of the parents have been wishing for neighborhood schools. And this is really the closest they're gonna get.
So my next question is this, as a parent, taxpayer, or whatever you wanna call me, where's the money coming from?
We can take this out of capital, can we not?
Well, this is gonna be funded with COPS funding, which would be part of the ISOP.
Yeah,
sales tax.
but
For the school or the bridge?
including any road is
I can't-
part of that, is it
That's
not?
the question I can't answer you. I know that when we do COPS funding, think of it as the lenders typically put a lien on the actual property and the building structures as, for lack of a better term, collateral.
Bingo.
So I don't know that COPS funding would be able to be used for this, but that doesn't mean that the tax money couldn't be used for that.
That's what I'm saying, but we should.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lean against something that you don't know.
No, they definitely could not use COPS financing.
That's a question much bigger than my knowledge, simply because there was a referendum, there were certain things in the referendum. You could wrap it around and say it's a safety item, and safety was part of the referendum, but that's for greater minds than mine.
But then if that bridge exists, then can it not, then no buses could be offered for those students as a cost savings? Like we gave you a bridge, so
Well,
get you a little tuckus on that.
there's hazardous walking conditions that may be addressed,
Right.
but for the most part, correct, there would not be a bus.
So buses picking up kids just outside that zone would now have a shortcut.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a shortcut for our busing as well as for the parents.
I guess if we zoom out a little bit further, I'm just trying to picture, how many people are over there having to be picked up, and does that make any difference? So it stays pretty sparse, it's not
Yeah,
like
it's pretty
there's
scattered.
a hub on the other side that's gonna all of a sudden have a shortcut.
And this shortcut, like we said, there's a circle that goes, through Milwaukee and whatnot. So how much through traffic we would have that's not school oriented? There'll be some. It probably wouldn't be horrendous because it's really, it would have to be the people that are actually living in this area for the most part, or delivering or whatever, that would be using that bridge. I wouldn't say that we would become a real thoroughfare through there, because it actually just sits in between two other roads that actually make the same
Most of the
turn.
people that live in that way are going into town, they're going down Mill Boulevard to State Road 82 to go into Fort Myers. They're not gonna cut through there, because all that does is get you on Homestead Road, which goes into Lehigh, and not a lot of people that live out there live and work in downtown Lehigh. They're going into Fort Myers, so they're gonna take Bell Boulevard south to 82 and then out.
Under ideal conditions.
Unless there's a big accident or
You
something.
wrecking cars out there lately?
Well, by the time the school's done, it's gonna be 4 6 lanes.
Now
all the
would
way
be a
through
prime
there,
time to
so-
put a bridge in there.
What's that?
Now would be a prime time to put a bridge in.
Right, well,
Next couple of years. I'm not saying tomorrow, I'm saying, now would be the time to do it, if you're gonna do it.
and we, as my company, we've done a lot of work with Lambert, and we've actually built bridges for Lambert on their canal. So I don't know if this is a county thing or if this is a Lambert thing.
No, it's a county request.
Oh, okay.
It would be a LAMCID permitting to put that request over their water.
Their water, right. But we've also built bridges for Lambert, paid for by Lambert, not by the county.
And they have some money. Right, they do. I've met with Lamson and Lee DOT about this. Neither one of them are ready to throw any money on the table, but they want to discuss, getting it done. If the bridge was there, the county would love to take over maintenance of the bridge and as well as the road and all that kind of stuff. But we have to get to where the terms would be on who is gonna contribute what if we're gonna be doing a project like this, right?
I mean, we can debate the semantics and the details of going down Joel, up Joel, sideways, I don't even live in that neighborhood. But at the end of the day, we need to be accommodative and helpful to that community. Down the road, maybe there's a need for that bridge. You probably didn't account for it in the capital project of that school. Something that people, the government wants, the agency wants, and I'm fine working with all of them. I mean, we can work with. The reason they're asking you to do it is because you got the money. They don't have the money, or they don't want to allocate it. Maybe they should help out, if we are gonna do it as a third party or a second party. But right now, you don't have the funding, you have the money, and that's a board decision too, as to what they want to do, but you don't have the money to do this.
McMill, we're not saying we will not work with people.
Correct, I agree with
The
you.
only statement is we would prefer that they build a bridge, and we will help support that effort if that's the direction the school board and the superintendent.
But you have finances too, you gotta deal with that, who's gonna pay for it.
Again, I'm not here to speak finances, I don't control that. We will work with our community partners as a group. I just don't feel that we should be the ones building it, but if we're part of that, most certainly that will be a
Yeah, I mean,
community effort.
You built the school's located there, you built the school, so obviously there's an impact in that area with the school. So obviously we need some input in that area, but should the school district build that bridge? With just I think it should be everybody involved in that decision and helping out with that, with that bridge.
I think everybody agrees with that. I don't think that, we know the district shouldn't be bearing the grunt of building that bridge.
You haven't gone through and thought through that whole process. Building a bridge creates other problems. So that building a bridge with 800,000 or 500,000 might not be the solution to the whole community in general. Like I said, there's sidewalks, there's safety issues. If I lived 4 blocks away and they built that bridge, I wouldn't have my kid walking on the street to that school. Wouldn't do it. You know, I'd have either a bus, I could tell the school, you know, I'm not gonna, that's a safety issue for that.
Right.
So you can build me the bridge, but if I live 3 blocks away without a sidewalk, you
They're
can't walk it.
They go to a dead end, nowhere.
Yeah, or I'm taking them or he's going on the bus.
I think that's a much bigger conversation.
So, I mean, I'm supportive of building the bridge, it's just, I don't think they've thought through the whole problem, the whole issue.
And then if you build the bridge, then they're gonna drop the kids earlier, so now, do you need a program in the school to actually provide?
Most schools do provide early drop-off programs for kids. Some are free, some are paid, depending on the circumstances of the
Because the
family.
parents in Lehigh, they work early, most of them, so they're gonna need that. I don't think that dropping it early will be an issue if they have the support.
I agree. So I can only tell you that for the traffic impact study, the roadway that we're providing for both of the schools, based on the traffic impact, meets needs for the county approval of the same. So I think that follow-up on this would be that your committee is recommending that we continue talks with the county and Lamson and the community members to further this in the future.
Well, and the only other question I had is, in this letter, he said that it would also benefit students attending Veterans Park and Lehigh Acres Middle. So, you know, that also, I don't know where those are located on that map, but,
They're in the general vicinity.
okay, but so like if that's true, it, you know, which is great, you know, yay. But then, then where is the best location for, you know, I mean, like, okay, it's like, if we're looking at just this school, but then it's like, okay, we've got these other, whatever color we would make those schools, it's like, then do we choose a different location that's more beneficial for everybody? You know, like how ours, like it kind of snowballs to all these other things.
This is the Veterans Park area, right?
Okay,
So you can see it's actually within the 2 miles, it's not colored because there's nobody living there.
right.
So people there's gonna be part of this area, there would also be a walker to Veterans Park.
Okay.
And then now you're walking them through the couple of parent and buses.
They're walking right past one school to get to the next school if they're a walker, that's true.
Right.
With no sidewalks.
As like Ellen says, you
You
solve
know,
the
so
problem.
we're
now
kind
you
of
got the road.
snowballing.
My take on that letter was, I think the first paragraph states we need to go find the money. Is that what it says? Everybody got a copy of it?
Yep, it says identify the funds.
Identify the funds.
Back to your question. For those Lehigh Middle School and those Veteran Park kids.
Yep.
There are kids now that we bus. They live within, actually, they're outside of the 2 mile walk because to walk, there's no way to do it because of the
Right, it's not
canal.
birds.
But if we put a pedestrian bridge, they now fall within that 2 mile radius of that school, and they would be walkers now. So
Right.
now, you know, you say safety of the kids, the argument then is it safer to have those kids
On a
walk
bus or-
1 mile and 3/4 to get to school, 1.8 miles to get to school, type of deal. So that's what the pedestrian bridge, and the letter says that in the first thing, that it's a three-way, let's identify the funds, let's see what we can do. And I think it wraps up with first the pedestrian, that's what they're talking about. But long-term, they're looking at a roadway,
No, I got
bridge
that.
going through there, but yes, they're
My
looking for
bigger
funding.
concern, my bigger concern is taking money out of the general fund of these schools for this roadway, regardless of who takes over maintenance of it. I think that the school money belongs in the school projects and funding directly, so we can safeguard our kids, the ones we already have. I think this bridge project should fall on someone else's pocketbook. I mean, it's just my opinion.
Well, or just because there's so many other unsafe things nearby that like now all of a sudden we put a bridge and, you know, it's like.
Pandora's box.
Yeah, and then as soon as you get to the end of it, it's not safe anymore. You know what I mean? That's not good. You know. But I'm all for walking. I walk my
That's
kid
what I
every
thought
day.
impact fees were for.
To a degree, but not 100%. When we extended 874 in Miami, there was 2 exits on the turnpike, 152 and 184. They built Coral Reef Elementary on the west side of the turnpike. So how do the kids get from the east side of the turnpike across?
With a bus.
Either that, or we put a pedestrian bridge in. Safest way, we didn't put a bridge in, we put a pedestrian bridge.
To walk over.
That's it, they didn't have sidewalks going to the school. Had a sidewalk going out to the street back then, what was that, 70 something, I forget the year. But what happened was we accommodated the children on the other side of that roadway. Did it stop the busing? No.
It did, private busing picked up the, a little bit of shortfall there. But that's what we did. And it's the same thing basically there, but you've got an opportunity here.
Like you say, 3 schools within what?
25 miles, 20 miles?
Oh, they're much closer than that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm just guessing. About 3
Three middle schools within about 3 to 4 miles.
Oh my God.
They're gonna service
You need,
a lot of
yeah, the way
students.
they develop it out there,
Based on what I've seen, I'd look for a bridge, but I don't think schools should make you do the money in it.
But I think Scott already summarized everything. Okay, because what happened is the school doesn't have to, everybody's supposed to work on that, on building that bridge. Okay.
It's definitely a joint effort between many parties to make that happen. It's not just our responsibility, it's not just Lampstead, it's not just Lee County DOT. It's everybody coming together and if we're gonna share cost, then we share cost. If someone else has more money than we do, then certainly they're more than likely to put it forward, if that's what they're wanting, because the county is the one that really would like to see this happen.
What's it called out there, Lambert Development?
Lampstead?
Lamson?
Lampstead, it's,
Lehigh Acres Municipal Service Improvement District.
thank you.
County water.
It used to be East Lee County Water.
It's a little swift mud.
So where do we go from here? We seem kind of split, in 3 different ways almost, of minimize it, keep it pedestrian, don't have anything to do with it. Like it could be more of a safety concern than an actual benefit. I mean, there's, the feelings of this are kind of scattered all over the board here. So it's gonna be hard to follow it down to a true recommendation.
I might suggest to you, Ryan, as the chairman, based on your committee's input, is it sounds like there's more discussions being requested and thought, and maybe planning, who has meetings with the community, that group in Lampstead and Lee County. That would be a long-range planning function, and maybe they continue to make a recommendation to continue those meetings and bring this to possible fruition.
The only thing I wanted to say was that if you do a pedestrian only, it almost bucks you into now is the school because it's only for
You're the only one
the
getting the
school.
benefit out of it all of a sudden.
But if you do the road, then it's different entities that will benefit from it. So when you're doing your negotiation, if you do pedestrian only, we may end up with the bill.
Correct. And then you've got the same statement that Art made, well, if I had a kid and a beautiful sidewalk from the school to the front end of the bridge, and then nothing on the back end, I'm not letting my kid.
A lot of people will drive, and there's people that are workers, so they gotta get to work early. It's a middle school, you go in at 9 o'clock, they have to drop the kids.
What about doing like a focus group with, sample of people that live there and explain the pros and cons? Because it sounds like they might need, have you thought of this, have you thought of that? If we do this, then what if that happens?
Like a survey monkey?
Yeah, something, because they might think if you do a pedestrian, I can see that maybe not getting utilized, because I wouldn't send an elementary kid that far walk by themselves. And if you are working, you're probably not gonna have the time to always do it. And I think that the road probably provide more long-term utility, obviously, but perhaps they need to get more information from the people that live there, and they need to think things through on how they would really use it.
Well, or if it was a joint thing too with like DOT and whoever else is involved with putting money into the pile, it's, so like, is that then causing issues for DOT that like now they've got to step up and make some sidewalks and all, so like it's a trickle down of, where are their funds? Like, I don't know how much money they have, it's like, what do they have allocated for the 1 to 5 to 10 year plan for that area? So it's like, if you're a parent,
You
it's like,
mentioned one road's private, right? I'm sorry.
yeah.
It's private, private easements.
But like as a
Yeah,
parent or if
stretch
you're
from
paying
Richmond
for
all the way back.
taxes, it's like, how would they, like as a taxpayer in that area, where do you wanna see your funds go? Do you wanna see sidewalks around your house, or do you wanna see a bridge go over a canal?
Well,
What I mean?
I think in the long term, when those other open parcels across Sunrise are to be developed, to get their development permitting and their traffic impact study based on theirs, that's where the county will force them to improve and provide improvements, sidewalks, connection bridge for the traffic across there, so the developers bear that burden.
We just don't know when that will
But
happen.
that could be 10 years down the road.
Yeah, could be 20 years out.
2044.
I'm gonna,
Well, I would
with-
think that once there's an elementary and a middle school there, that the growth in and around that is going to develop pretty quick.
If
That's what I'm looking at.
If we had a bridge across there, how, you see how fast that's gonna develop right there on the east side of that school? All those are empty lots and they're all reasonably priced right now. And that's where a lot of the building is from the last 5-10 years.
Well, then we need another lot for the next school, because we're already.
But that's what the impact fees and so forth are supposed to
And then we
help
need
to
one of those
support.
sky bridges
When
that
you
just
develop
connects
for the county to do it.
Exactly, that's my point.
I totally agree.
I mean,
It's like when you're like downtown, you know, like big cities.
There's two ways of looking at it, and I think everyone has an opinion and all the opinions matter. And I think the best way for you and planning, Dominic, would be to continue those discussions with the county and the community.
One thing I'll try to do is I'm gonna see if Lee County GIS has an overlay of sidewalk, so we can see where sidewalks are,
Yeah, like
and where they're
bad
not, I should
spots.
say.
Yeah.
And then compare that with their sidewalk plans, because I know that they are doing several $100,000 in sidewalks in Lehigh this year. So maybe if they have a GIS overlay of the sidewalks, at least we can see what kind of sidewalks exist in this area, and to know if, we're just, like you say, we're creating a bridge with no way to get to it.
And there's a lot of side impacts too. You create that bridge. Now on the other side, you may have to take property
Right.
from those homeowners for the revised DOT standard for the roadway width, curb and gutter, sidewalk and bike lane maybe, and so forth. And now you've got all those property owners in that, across where this bridge would be, and that's an even bigger commitment at that moment in time, because they're gonna make you do all the alignment, and so.
I think there's a pretty much a matching easement on the other side, is there not?
Yeah, but then it's a lot of curves and turns and
Yeah, there's-
see how it comes out.
I'm not
and-
saying, just something, just look at the big picture, that's why the communication and all the discussions really need to keep.
Yeah, I know there's one house that would be real unhappy because his backyard will be the front door of the school, but, you're right.
I'm thinking maybe a monorail would solve it, right? I'm joking, of course, but just think about that.
I went to the only
You build a
college in the
shuttle.
nation that had a monorail, so.
I mean, I'm joking, but
Cool.
seriously,
No way.
think about it.
And then they had to build the man bridge over because there was an area down, like, where they had like all the classes, that no way to get past. Yeah. They killed the man.
But isn't the bottom line for the school board is, and I know you know this, if you want to put forth a recommendation, and don't we usually in the one of the things we do in a recommendation is to recommend that the school board ask staff to meet with, because the ask in this letter is for our board, Lampstead, and county commissioners to meet together. And it sounds like you've done some preliminary work on it because you had numbers and the walkers and all of that, but we don't have the detailed numbers, right, that we would need if we were to ask staff to really look at this. For instance, 166 more walkers, okay, so that's 3 buses. And what is the yearly, in 1 year, and this would be something like in 1 year, in 5 years, how many years would it take to pay for that? And then, of course, there is the safety
I mean, it's
issue,
tough to make a recommendation without having enough information on the safety aspect to
That's-
vote a yea or nay.
that's where the studies come
There
in,
these
so.
conversations, like Dominic said, like, some kind of commitment of, yeah, we realize the Southern Light doesn't go anywhere, but, in the next 3 years, we'll put, 5 miles worth of things branching onto this neighborhood, at least get over to Bell Boulevard where it connects to other systems. And, look at it kind of holistically of can we create a network within a reasonable timeframe, that it becomes, you know, a viable idea. You're right, we don't wanna build a bridge to nowhere, but it won't be to nowhere forever, and, you know, we can't pretend that it will be.
No, but the committee doesn't have to recommend build a bridge. The
Engaging
committee
with the
can, to get the staff to dive deeper into the numbers, the school board can look at that recommendation and say, I think it's warranted that we ask the staff to try to meet with the other two groups and to really do a deeper evaluation in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years, what would this
But yeah, part of
look like?
that discussion with the county would be, again, the safety on the other side of the bridge is paramount to the community.
Right.
Of, you know, making sure that there's a plan to get those students throughout the neighborhood or to other pathway networks. That needs to be part of the discussion, not just plop a bridge here.
Right.
All right.
And then, you know, we do have a group that's consulting about proximity schools. So obviously another group to get involved would be whoever, you know, the people are that are specifically going to be working on the plan. You know, they've already taken the zones and made them smaller and you know, there is a plan in place, but all of that will factor in. So, just saying.
Yes, because if we're working towards what I would call community schools or neighborhood schools, we want parental involvement with our schools. Oh, yeah. They have to have an easy way to get to the school as well. And we know that for a fact, if you've worked at any of the schools, you know that parental involvement has diminished because we're so big and neighborhood schools have gone away. And that means we can't keep kids in the school involved in other things because
So could we get a motion from Darren to give us a detailed cost estimate of the bridge construction?
I'll see y'all next meeting. Before he leaves,
Meeting to go to.
Thank you, Dan.
Discount.
I'm sorry, Michelle, I just.
No, that's okay. It's just, no, it's perfectly fine. I'm just thinking out loud because if we want community neighborhood schools, we want, the reason for that is parental involvement and proximity to students so they can get there easy, just like in the old days.
Can't find a sidewalk going, can you?
Nope.
And so we need to have access so they can get to the schools easily for 6 o'clock spaghetti dinner or whatever.
Sunrise has some sidewalk, right by Richmond, because I have to connect to it.
Yeah, but I'm on the other side where the bridge would be, you know, the other
Like once
side.
we drop it.
I doubt you won't find it.
Well, I think that overlay thing
And
that you were
I'll bet
talking
that
about
those
would be.
roads weren't per Lee County standard back in the day when it was unincorporated.
That's all general development stuff out there.
So that's why I'm talking about the whole taking of frontage property for the.
This is what it looks like right here. That's the edge.
So in other words, there's no easements.
Which size is the school on?
The ability right next to, love ground.
Zoom out, they're all in.
6 foot. Because you have 2 foot between the street and a 4 foot sidewalk.
Okay.
So you have to have 6 feet either way, level grade.
Well,
Yeah, I
John,
just wanted to get the comparison.
what does that box culvert cost us at Benita? That was about
It's 300.
300 grand.
What does that canal do again?
Pardon?
That canal, what does it do again?
Holds water?
Besides that.
Gets rid of water.
Yeah, it gets rid of water.
That area takes a lot of flow, my understanding.
This is the connection we're
That's
talking
gonna
about.
be, that's gonna be our response, to get rid of the canal. That-
Could you zoom in on that existing part? So right where that cul-de-sac is, from that lane over is gonna be the new private road section. And once it connects, the county will take over that road maintenance. So that's where that curve was on the bottom of the orange, was connecting those two dots.
But if the bridge doesn't go through, then that's the school district's responsibility to take care of that section from all the way in all the time.
Yes.
With the other landowner, correct. Since we're developing it and they have no need to develop it, we have to bear the cost of the development.
Right.
But the perpetual maintenance of it until someone takes it over would be borne by all of the easement holders for that.
Yeah, there's also the lighting aspect and all the other.
That's all on our development.
And the sidewalk you're building is going How far exactly?
Don't have
All the way
kids.
out here, isn't it?
Well,
All the way
I don't
to
think.
Richmond?
there's-
Well, what we're doing is there is a sidewalk on Richmond right now.
Right here. Sidewalks here on Sunrise,
Oh, good, you got them.
on Richmond.
And
Nothing in there. There's no sidewalks in that
Look
neighborhood.
where it ends, look, it's like, see you later.
This is your sidewalk that goes.
Yeah.
Goes out to Homestead. Yeah.
we're connecting up with that.
But if you go in, when you go into this, these are very wide, roads, but no sidewalks. And I don't know, how, they could probably put walk lanes on these roads because they're so wide, but I don't think you'll ever see sidewalks.
Minimum 12-foot lane. So 24 feet and then,
Those roadways are probably over 24 feet wide, they're very wide. This subdivision here, for whatever reason. And then the other question is not just like, if there's not a sidewalk, is it at least somewhat level and maintained? You know that the unincorporated counterpart's not. Someone will mow their lawn, but at the end of the day, it could be a 3 foot deep ditch that no one's gonna walk in anyway. You know?
and along Sunrise, that is the Lambert collection ditch that ultimately goes around the property and connects into the big canal too. So you're correct.
Sidewalks both sides of the street here.
What's your motion, right?
Our suggestion is gonna be, or our motion is to be continuing conversation, to make sure that this is a viable option and is not a security or a safety hazard for students that may be inclined to walk through that area, and specifically discuss the walkability of the future project with the county in those discussions. Get some kind of a commitment that this will be
You're gonna have kids jumping.
expanded in a reasonable timeframe, because, you know, we're bringing it in and it's looking like it's gonna be nothing but vehicular for a long time. I mean, we can kind of throw the walker equation out the window, it's gonna be all vehicular for a long
I think
time.
it's too premature to do anything right now until you put that school in, put the kids in, know where the buses are, know where the cars go, know where the people are, so.
Like how.
Until you do that, you're not gonna.
Would it be your recommendation as a committee, or one of the things you could think about, is not doing a pedestrian bridge, but potentially in the future, whatever timeframe that is, doing a driving bridge that has pedestrian capability with it, so it's a one-time build? That may be something you all as a committee want.
Yeah, it certainly makes more sense than the truly pedestrian bridge, where you're the only one that benefits and you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna be stuck putting the entire bill. Yeah, no one's gonna pay for
It's
that.
the same story when you build a campus on a vacant parcel. The kids walk, you don't put the sidewalks in, because the kids walk where you wanna go, then you put the sidewalks in. That's kind of what,
Thank you, Art.
that's kind of the situation here. I mean, yes, it's a good idea to cross that bridge, that's probably a good thing, you know.
That's deep, they're not gonna be walking across that unless they got water wings.
Yeah, but you don't know, you
They
know.
did around Lehigh Senior High and they tried it.
That's a ESC.
Right now, you don't have the answer, you're assuming a lot right now. You don't have the answer to what's got going on that side of the.
Well, the only reason I don't make any assumptions right now, Art, is based on the scattergram that are planning department's future projections. There doesn't seem to be a big support factor out there. At least in the immediate future here. Well, maybe in 2 years, 3 years, yeah, that whole scenario.
You don't have all the answers.
You gotta remember, all those dots you saw are all going to one of our schools now. It's not like they're waiting for the school to open, they're all going to a school right now.
Yeah, and also it makes sense. If I was living on that side of the road, I would think about going through all that traffic on the left to drop my kid in the morning. So if we wanna drag these people now or soon or later, doing what you just talk about it, negotiate, whatever, it makes sense.
And in our conversations, it can be, we want to do this bridge, but you know, we need to have sidewalk connecting Sunrise to Bell Boulevard, we need sidewalk from Bell Boulevard. I mean, it can all be discussed. You know, hey, we're willing to put in a piece of the district's money to help build this bridge. We need a way for our students to walk there safely, so what can you do with us with your sidewalk budget to at least do some major roadway sidewalk? There's no sidewalk on Bell or Sunrise between there and the school. Yeah, and even if it's not all in part of the project day one, a comprehensive plan that you're gonna spend this much every year until we have a reasonable network put together. that needs to be part of the discussions. It's hard for us as a committee to make a recommendation really one way or the other than keep talking, keep finding information.
Well, I mean, like when people bring problems, if they're willing to be part of the solution, like, this Rick, I don't wanna butcher his last name.
Angelicus.
Okay, Angelicus. I mean, it's like, they're concerned about something, so it's like, okay, well, if he's that concerned, I mean, then will he chair a committee to get everybody together? Like instead of just putting a letter out there, making it everybody else's problem. Okay, Mr. Angelicus, or I'm sorry, I don't remember. Okay, it's like, would you like to be the chair? Would someone from your committee like to head up this concern? And bring all, like, instead of making the district have to get with everybody to do all this stuff, it's like, they're the committee for that area, they have a concern, they need to offer up somebody.
Did they detail their concern?
Sort of, but then it also brought other stuff, it's like with anything, like somebody just throws something out there and it's, and then says, well, and then, it could also benefit some other students, well, then it could also cause safety concerns, I mean, it's this whole thing, so it's like, my suggestion on a response would be like, thank you so much for your concern. We appreciate this, obviously you're aware that there's multiple entities involved. Since you have a committee in the local area, they might be a better outreach since we're not getting good feedback when we have something. So it's like, would someone in their committee be able to step up and head it? And we will 100% support sending manpower to be part of that group.
And we'd love to draw on Union Bridge.
Yeah, and we'd love to talk about that opportunity and we'd love to, have that interaction, but, someone, like put the ball back in their court saying, game on, we're all,
Well, you bring up a good point, because ultimately in the end game is they will have ownership of this bridge. Ultimately, the end game is they're responsible for the safety of the community that come to the points of connection. So I agree with you, they probably should be the lead in this discussion group, or focus group, or whatever.
What I see is you need the bridge. No matter how you build it, cut it, slice it, or dice it, future growth dictates you need that bridge. Let's just cut to the chase. Question is, what I got on that letter is, let's go find the money. No, let's not. Let's watch you find the money, and we'll drive on Union Bridge.
And we'll help you.
And we'll help you. We'll try to get state funding, whatever we gotta do, try to pull it with you. But we're not bridge builders, you guys are. You're the road people. You're gonna take over anyway, but we need this bridge. Growth dictates it. And the guys out there running that utility deal, I'd be asking them, I said, well, with a bridge development, I got water pipe protection, gas pipe protection, whatever else you gotta run across that canal for me to. I offer up to them. They're gonna have a utility corridor. But there's different ways to slice and dice that. But I'm just saying that, to come to the school people and say, hey, you guys need this bridge for school. Yeah, you're right, we do. We're not in that business.
Certainly.
But I think, you also have to have a statutory review, because I believe by statute, they're obligated to provide all these services and utilities to community schools.
Bingo.
So I think, I like the idea that the committee, the group that is wanting to bring this forward, we should definitely participate in that. But I think.
And we're supportive of their concern and,
I would be benign to put children on a bridge without some type of pedestrian walkway on it. Living in Lee County, where they drive down there.
Absolutely agree.
Absolutely not. So the idea of these sidewalks buffering off that bridge.
Well, you know what I'm saying, a
No, I know what you're
suspended
saying,
section.
but I'm
walkway.
also thinking I might have culverts, drainage. You just can't slam sidewalks in. There's a whole slew of Pandora's box you just opened up on that. So it's not just slam the bridge in, put a couple rails up and a fence and there it is.
Correct.
And I can also understand alleviating the burden on the busing department at the schools. Anytime we take one of those buses off the road, is that much less liability.
Yeah, you're always gonna have unintended consequences. I'm just gonna tell you, cause it's come up before. You open that bridge up, now you got parents who are not gonna go through the parent pickup line. They're gonna race through this neighborhood, drop their kids off there, and have their kids walking across. So you can't open it up like this neighborhood is just gonna love this idea.
Right.
I can tell you the ones with the kids, And the kid-friendly parents or households will very much be. But the retirees that come down here, that now we're gonna see buses coming through and encourage traffic and speed bumps because now they're going too fast. This has come up before, and as you were talking about the bridges, Cape is like that. They built bridges, they have little 18-inch little sidewalk back. Well, we won't let kids walk there. So even though they're saying, hey, there's a sidewalk, kids can walk, they're not. That's hazardous walking. We pick up the kids and we take them. Now, they've been doing a better job in the last few years, putting railings up, making it wider, really doing a better job with the safety issues there. But there's a lot of things, like I said, this is just step one. You know, are we willing to be participants? Absolutely. When we look at the kids, we're all advocates for them. We definitely have to take a look at it and be active roles in this one. But yeah, I read the letter too. His first line, he says it. We need to get together and identify funding resources for this.
And every dollar we take out of the school board budget into projects like this, that should be, like everyone's here agrees, should be split out among the entities involved, not just, oh, you need this. Yeah, we know we need it, but we need help putting it in. We got kids out here that need free lunch and stuff. And I'm not saying that being facetious, I'm saying it's an honest to God statement. They came in to 4 pencils and pens, we got them going to school. And it's a shame because if we start taking money out of that general budget, we're robbing those children of not only their safety, their education. And it's not right. To me, it's not right. I know a lot of people may feel different, but I see it every day when I go over there.
We've run a bit past our time slot here.
Sure.
So with that, I'd like to kind of, I guess, a motion that we're not going to come to an agreement at this point, at a particular time, is what it sounded like. But we do encourage further discussions and see the bridge as an inevitability in that regard. And, you know, safety and financial requirements are things that still need to be discussed in great detail.
I'm working with one of the other board members, and we got acres in general, and actually have a meeting next week with her. And we'll talk a little bit more about this. I actually I sent her information about today's meeting was gonna cover some of this stuff. I'll probably will reach out to the advisory council in Lehigh just to get an idea of when I think they meet the first Monday of every month or something like that. I probably would like to attend one of their meetings just to hear what they've got to say about this. I'd like to know what their concerns are or what their benefit is. I'm trying to figure out if they have a lot of concerns or if they're looking for some benefit. I want to see where they're coming from. I mean, I understood. So
we would recommend to meet with these people as well and continue discussions with the county and try to get a subcommittee together to really figure out the best way forward in this regard.
Well, these folks brought this to the MPO, which is the water planning organization for the county. So they're the ones that really kind of sent it to us. So I think I'm gonna start with the advisory council first, and then I'll talk with the MPO after that, just to get a little more information on their push. I want to know their concerns on why there's a push. What they're looking at from their side and what the benefit is, not just to the community, but the schools and the students. I want to see what all that is.
All right. With that, we do have one item left on the agenda. That's for the good of the order. So if there's any other comments not addressed at this point, I'd like to go around the room, starting with Ms. Edwards. This is anything else that off topic that we'd like to have addressed this evening.
Okay.
For the next meeting, can we talk about the procurement, because they were here, they must have left.
They all
We're talking about the
quit.
bridge for an hour and a half.
Because now they think we're gonna procure a bridge,
Yeah.
they're really freaked out. I'm like, they're like, this meeting went really well.
The heat is off procurement.
Certainly,
I like that
I'll
one.
address that in just a moment.
That's good.
They're going, oh my God.
Good.
And then to follow up with that, from our November meeting, we had requested some input on the RFQ process. So maybe our next meeting would be the time to follow up. I did see you get some response from Mr. Ellis and also Mr. Taylor, who was not able to make it tonight. But if anyone else has anything to say, we'll try to set up something with them so that we can address our concerns from the November meeting. We're hoping to find a little time to do that this evening. It looks like that was probably a little aggressive to try to put it on the same schedule. So we'll move back to that. in that regard, and then, follow up with this. So with that said, can we find a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Made by Mr. McStravick, seconded by Mrs. Brown. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none opposed, thank you very much, and we'll see you the first week of February.
No, it's like if you were tighter in a while, you